Victor Wooten is a master of slap bass, but he is a master preaching a very controversial message.
No kid wants to practice video games. They want to play, and so music was that way for me. Practice is not my mentality.
So how exactly did Victor Wooten develop his insane slap bass technique and become one of the most musical bass players on the planet if he didn't practice? In this video, I'm going to show you the biggest slap bass trap bassists who do practice fall into and how to avoid it, why Victor's advice might be the secret behind his mind-blowing slap bass technique, and what kind of not practice you should be doing to improve your slap bass skills using something that I like to call the watch and wait concept. So, how can practicing slap bass actually get you into a trap that completely halts your progress? Here's a story that sums it up. When I was at school, I was terrible at learning foreign languages. So I basically got older having given up on the idea of ever learning a foreign language. But that all changed a few years ago when I spent 3 weeks in Germany. I simply went out into Düsseldorf, tried to do all the things that I wanted to do, and tried to learn the language by picking it up from the locals. And much to my surprise, I not only picked up some basic German a lot faster than I did when I was at school, I actually became obsessed with learning more. This story actually sums up why so many bass players fall into a progress trap when it comes to learning slap bass. You see, when I was in Düsseldorf, the German that I learned actually served a purpose. As long as I learned the relevant German, I could go for coffee, I could go to the cinema, I could go out for a nice meal with my friends. In other words, I had an incentive. However, this is not how most bass players practice slap. Bass players will do their slap exercises, but crucially, the slap exercises they do don't serve any higher purpose. So there's no incentive for doing them. There's no reward. So this is Victor's first big lesson. You will progress so much faster if you pick a goal that is inspiring and means something to you. Learning to play your favorite slap bass song, bass line, riff, or even solo will make you practice so much more with so much effort and conviction because it's rewarding to do.
Kids like to do it.
Now, however great this all sounds, this does actually create a new problem. What if your goal is to develop the kind of mind-bending slap bass technique that Victor Wooten has? Surely to get this good, you'd have to practice a lot of exercises, right? Well, once you've learnt Victor's second lesson, you might actually change your mind because this second lesson really holds the secret to both his incredible musicality and his mind-blowing slap bass technique. Imagine you're at the gym and you need to do a full body workout. One of the best exercises you could do is the deadlift. One deadlift will work your legs, your arms, your glutes, your core, your upper body, your back at the same time. However, when most bass players practice slap, in this scenario, they're working on their technique, their ability to follow a metronome, and maybe their posture, but the majority of their focus and the progress they'll get will all be focused on their hands and their technique. Now compare that to this clip of Victor playing. I know this is from a gig, but if we were to consider this a practice session, he's working on his technique, but also his groove, his dynamics, his interpretation of the music, his listening to the drummer, his listening to the rest of the band. He's improvising, he's working on his ears, his feel, he's applying his knowledge of music theory. And the crucial point is he is doing all of that at the same time. So if we only ever practice slap technique like this, without also practicing how we can use slap bass technique alongside all these other skills, we will never develop the compound skill of having incredible slap bass technique and being able to use it musically.
Let's say I want to learn to speak English, and I admire you because you speak so well. And I say, wow, when you were growing up, what did you practice? You did it.
But this creates a new problem. Exactly what should you be doing when you're not practicing? Well, here's an exercise from my slap bass course that I like to call the watch and wait concept. And it really puts this concept into action. And by the way, if you do want to check out the course and get more info, there's a link below in the description. So if you want to take your slap skills to the next level, do this. Put a drum groove on a repeating loop and then play any slap bass line that you know really well along with it. Your job now is to wait until you can hear a lick or a fill in your head, and then as soon as you do, try and play what you hear. You can view your own mistakes when working with the watch and wait exercise as highlighting the musical mistakes you're making and giving you feedback on the areas you need to work on. For example, do you keep rushing all your fills? If yes, then work on your timing. Do you keep playing all the same old licks? If yes, then learn the neck better. Does the music simply not groove? In which case, work on your feel. This watch and wait exercise takes all the skills that you would develop by doing gigs and condenses them down into one short exercise that you can do in small chunks of 2, 5, or 10 minutes. So you can get the benefits of doing this kind of compound practice, but on a really small, manageable scale. This is lesson number 3, to make sure that your practice actually resembles the kind of environment that you ultimately want to perform in.
No one made you practice. No one said you have to learn these words first. You got to say your ABCs or your scales over and over. No one ever did that. You just spoke. And you were never not allowed to participate.
However, there's still one big, pretty obvious problem. Learning songs, playing with bands, doing more gigs. This sounds like something that's going to take loads and loads of time. What if you simply don't have the motivation to do this? What if you don't have the time? If that's you, click up here, watch this video, and learn how to practice slap bass on the days that you really hate practicing.